All right, so we're going to talk about Unix. So Unix is an operating system, and so you might have used Windows, Mac OS, possibly Linux. So Linux and Mac OS are Unix-based operating systems. So Unix is very efficient, and we're going to look at some basic Unix commands. Okay, so most of the Unix systems come with terminal or command line interface, just the one that you're seeing here, that allows the user to interact with the operating system by entering commands. Okay, so commands are basically programs that you can use to perform certain operations. So there are like simple commands like pwd that tells you which directory you are in, or ls command which tells you what is inside the inside the directory. So ls is list command, pwd tells you which directory you are in, so that's the directory I am in. Okay, so that's the path. PWD stands for present working directory. So anytime you don't know about a command, you can use man pwd, man and the command. So man is for manual, so man and the command that you want to find more information about. So man pwd, and I can read the manual. Okay, so it is like it basically tells you which directory you are in. So working directory. So working directory means the directory you are in. So you can read man pages and get more information about a command. All right. So how do you get out of this? :Q. All right. :Q will get you out of the man pages. So if you want to find information about ls, list command, man ls, and you can find more information about ls command. Okay. So all the commands come with flags. So these alphabets that you see, those are the flags that you can use along with commands. So flags. So when you use a flag, commands will do something different. So if you just do ls, you just see list of files and directories within the current directory. If I do ls-l, that will display me the long listing. Okay, so one line per file or directory, and you see all of this, like who owns the file, the length of the file, and the timestamp and all that. Okay, and the permissions, right? So another command, useful command, is clear. So clear is going to clear your terminal, right? So if you type a lot of commands, you can use clear. Another important command is history. So with history, it will display previous commands that you have typed. Okay, so if I want to type pwd command again, I don't need to type the whole command. I can just type exclamation mark and 236, and that will run the command pwd on the terminal. Okay, so if I run pwd, that's what I get. Okay, so instead of typing the whole command, you can just type the number here. All right, so history basically tells you which commands you have used recently. All right, so there are some standard directories in any Unix-based system. So this is the directory structure. As you can see, so root is the base. All right. So in Windows, you have C drive, and everything is under C drive. C drive basically hard disk. So similar concept in Unix is root. So root is basically /, and all the other directories are under root. Okay. So these directories are very common. So bin is the binary image of bin is a directory that stores the binary image of some of the Unix commands. So how do I go to root? CD. So let me clear CD / okay, and that is root. All right, so that's root. I'm in root. If I do ls, you can see some of the etc and opt and temp and user and bin, dev, all those directories. Okay, so bin is the for binary images of Unix commands. Okay, so that's where the executable file for Unix commands are stored. Dev is for devices. Okay, etc is for system administrator files. Lib is for library files. TMP is for temporary files. Okay, and home is where the users files are stored. All right, so I'm using Mac OS, which is Unix based. So the structure is little different from typical Unix based system. Okay, so cd is for change directory. Cd tilde will take me to the home directory. All right, so my home directory is users, root users, and then my username. Okay, that's my home directory. In typical Unix based system, you'll have root, home, and the user's username. That's the user's home directory. So you have two users here that you can see. All right, so each user has a different home directory. So home directory is not root home, it's root home / username. All right, that's a typical directory structure. There's some symbols that you need to get used to. For example, / is for root. Okay, so with this I'll go to the root. Tilde is for home directory. So now I'm in home directory. Dot is the current directory. So if I do ls dot, it will display list of files in the current directory. Okay, and two dots is parent directory. Okay, so if I do cd two dots, it will display what is in I went to the parent directory. So I went from my home directory, okay, to my parent directory. So I was here, and when I type cd space dot dot, it took me to the parent directory. Okay, so when you use cd dot dot, you go one step up. Okay, so if I'm in let's say this bin directory, and if I do cd dot dot, it will take me to root. Okay, or if I'm in bin, it will take me to user. All right, so these four symbols are important: / for root, tilde for home directory, dot for current directory, and two dots for parent directory. Okay, so when I did ls-l, you saw the long listing. All right, so these are the permissions. So you see one line for each file or directory within the parent directory, and what you see here is the permissions. All right, so D, you'll see D if the file is a directory. Okay, and so you'll see D for directory, and you will see this hyphen if it is just a file, not a directory. So in Unix, everything is a file. So you have like text files, you have binary files, and you have some other files such as pictures and stuff. So directory is also a file that contains other files. So directory is basically a special file that contains other files. So you'll see D here. D means that's a directory, and you do see this symbols RWX. You know, it's basically repeating 3 times. So you see 9 of these. Okay, RWX, RWX, RWX. So those R is for read, W is for write, and X is for execute. Okay, so you have these read, write, execute permissions. All right, so read permission. Write W is for write permission, and X is for execute permission. So if you give somebody permission to read file, they'll be able to read the file. If you give permission to write file, they'll be able to modify the file. So they'll be able to write or edit the file. Okay, and if you give somebody execute permission, and if the file is an executable or a program, they will be able to run the program. Okay, so all of those things are they are kind of important from security perspective, and that's why I mean, you don't want uh, some other user modifying your files. Okay, and that's why we need these permissions. So with chmod command, you can modify these permissions. Okay, so let's look at how to assign the permission to begin with. So let's say I created a file, I created a directory. So you can use chmod on directory or a file. Okay, and you can change the permissions. So if you use with a directory, you can use -r option, and you can apply the same permissions to all the files within the directory. Okay, so let's look at this example. So here you see chmod 751 my directory. So 7 is for user. 7 is the permission for user. 5 is the permission for a group, and 1 is the permission for other. Okay, so what is 7? So we use binary. Okay, so basically 7 is RWX, and why it is RWX I'll explain. So RWX is 4 plus 2 plus 1, so 2 to the power 0, 2 to the power 1, and 2 to the power 2. Okay, whereas R read permission, no write permission, execute, that will be 4 plus 1. Okay, so no write permission, so there's no 2 here. All right, and no read, no write, execute would be just 1. All right, so this is 7, this is 5, and this is 1. Okay, so when I do chmod for a specific directory, it will change its permission to chmod rwx my directory. You will get like user, that means whoever owns the file will get read, write, execute permissions. Group will get read and execute permission. So what is a group? So group is basically group is used to manage the users. So what happens is, for example, Grand Valley has 25,000 students and let's say 2,000 employees. So what the administrator is going to do is he's going to divide users into different groups. So you're going to have a student group, you're going to have a graduate student group, you're going to have faculty group, you're going to have staff group, you're going to have student workers group. And instead of managing permissions for each individual user, what we do is put users into groups and manage permission for the whole group. Okay, so that's the easier way to do. So whenever you have account on EOS or Datacom machine, you are placed into the student group, and we change permission for the whole group, not for individual student. Okay, so that's why we have separate permission for a group. And other means rest of the world, anybody else, everybody else. Okay, so only user will be able to read, write, execute this directory. Okay, has read, write, execute permission on this directory. Group has read and execute permission, and others have only execute permission. Okay, so if you want to apply this recursively to all the files within my directory, you can just do -r. So -r is the flag, and it will do it recursively. Okay, so there are other ways to add or remove permissions. So I'll show you this. So I'll do chmod. I'll create a. So let's clear this. I'm going to use a touch command to create a file. So with touch new file, you can create a file. Okay. So with touch, it will create an empty file. And now I'm going to change permissions for this file. So chmod, let's say 751 and the file name. Okay, I do ls-l, sorry, ls-l new file. So I did 751. So 751 is basically read, write, execute. Okay, that you see here for user, read and execute for the group, and only execute for other. Okay. So how can you modify permissions? So you can do chmod. Let's say I want to give read permission for other. Okay. So what I can do is O is for other plus read permission new file. Okay, and that will do it. All right. So you can see read permission is added here, which was not there before. Okay. So let's look at these examples. So what this will do is this will assign a read write execute permission to user. It will assign read write to group, and it will only assign read permission to others. So that's another way. So instead of using this number 751 or 764 in this case, you're using this RWX and UGO. So U is for user, G is for group, and O is for other, and A means all of it, like user, group, and other. Okay. So here you can change the permission for my file. So you're removing, so with minus sign, you're removing write permission for group, you're removing read permission for other. With this one plus, you are adding write permission for other. Okay. And with this, you are removing write permission for all. So user, group, and other, none of them would have write permission. Okay. So that's how chmod is used, and you'll be using all of these commands. So if you work in industry, software related, you'll be using this command. So this is very, very useful. Okay. So I still use them on a daily basis. When I worked in industry, I have to use these things. Okay. So because these are very basics and fundamentals. So I recommend that you practice these things. So cp command is for copying files. So you can look at the man page. So you can copy file or directory using cp. So when you enter man pages, how do you get out is :q. Okay. So type q for quit. So :q will get you out, bring you back to the command line. So cp is like copy paste. So in Windows you do copy paste. So what happens with copy paste is you create another copy. All right. So you don't move the original file, but you make another copy. So with cp -r for recursive, it's going to copy source directory into destination directory. All right. So let's look at this two scenarios. So let's look at this first scenario. So this is root. You have two directories under it, directory X and Y. Let's say you are currently in directory Y, and you type this command cp-r. So cp-r. Okay, so you are here. So two dots means parent directory. That means this one, and under you have directory X. So this is the source directory, and dot means current directory. Okay, so dot is the destination directory. So this is the source directory, and this is the destination directory because you are in directory Y. So when you do that, what happens is you make a copy of this directory under the destination directory. Okay, that's what you will see when you type this command. So two dot means parent directory. So you are here. So how do you refer X is 2 colons. So that will take you here, and directory X. So you need to specify the whole path. All right. So in this case, it's relative path. It's relative to where you are. Okay. So for example, if you are on the 3rd floor of the building, you know, 2nd floor is below and 4th floor is up. So that's relative. Okay. So on the 3rd floor, you can say go up or down, and that means like 4th floor or 2nd floor. So that's relative. Okay. Absolute would be your specifics from. So when you're on the third floor, you can just say go to fourth floor or go to second floor. That's more clear. Okay. So in this case, this is the absolute path name. All right, cp-r 2 dots directory x and dot. So instead of 2 dots and directory, you can just use absolute path name, which would be root and directory x. Okay, that would do the same thing. So instead of this, you could have also done this cp-r root directory x and dot. Okay, dot means current directory. So this will do the same thing as this. Okay, cp-r 2 dots. All right, so it will do the same thing. So 2 dot means parent directory, which is root, and that's what this is. Okay, but when you use 2 dots, that's relative to where you are. So if you are here, that means the parent of directory y. Okay. So second scenario, so let's say x and y are the directories under root. You are currently under directory y, and you do cp-r. So here you have this root directory x, which means this, and destination is directory z. So what it will do is it will move directory x under y, and it will name this as directory z. Okay. Then you have another command called mv. Mv is move. So cp is like copy paste. Mv is like cut paste in Windows. Okay, so when you do cut paste, you remove the file or directory from the original location and you move it somewhere else. So mv does the same thing for you. Okay, so mv is used for moving files or directories from one place to another, and also for renaming files or directories. Some other commands, rmdir and the directory name is going to remove the directory. Okay, mkdir is going to create a directory. So mkdir new dir. Okay, that's the name of the new directory. So I created a new directory. All right. mkdir. Okay, so I created a new directory with mkdir, and you can see that right here. Okay. Similarly, if you want to move the directory, you can use rmdir and new directory, and then it will be deleted. Okay. So if I do ls now, there's no new directory here. Okay, so it's gone. So with rmdir, you can delete the directory. So for rmdir, the directory must be empty. So just keep that in mind. You have to be very careful when you're deleting something. Okay. Rm is a command to remove a file or directory. So with rm, you can. So if you want to delete a directory on all its content,